And so the first question is sort of, okay, there's project management, there's program management, and there's product operations, and they sort of overlap. So how do you see these three roles from your perspective as a program manager?
Yeah. In fact, I do all three of them, and they're different. So I do have at Bushel, we have multiple products. The brand new product line that's being established is FinTech, under which there's two products. I'm overseeing both of them in a whole FinTech portfolio. And within it, I actually manage as a project manager, one of the product builds. I oversee day-to-day everything the team does, the details of it, the planning, the are we on track, all of the project management things. At the same rate, getting this product out the door is a program. There's many business components around it, including marketing, including operations. There's a debit card involved. That program has to be set up. There's vendors engaged in that. There's a program of it. That's one product. There's another product under FinTech umbrella that's being created. I don't project manage that. There's another project manager, but I oversee both of them. And together, they kind of are, well, we call it program, but in reality, it's portfolio. It's that level oversight of all of it. So I step through all of it and I manage the resources on every level. So to me, that's the little distinction. And it's interesting when I speak to people, they sometimes confuse even when they're speaking to me, like, am I speaking to you as a project manager or you're at the director level now? And sometimes I have to clarify. Sometimes we just go through it and solve the problem. So that's how resourcing, when we're talking about resourcing, that's how resourcing comes in. I oversee all of resourcing for all of FinTech, but then specifically for my project that I'm working on very specifically, I manage it day to day.
So I have a quick follow-up for you. So when you say, as your title of program management, and then for one project, you say, for one product, you say, I act as a project manager. For another, I act as a program manager. So do you have to switch your mindset? Is your job different when you put on the hat of each one? Really?
It is. Absolutely. I stay at a higher level. I expect the other project manager to know the details. So then she brings it up to the next level. And I know a little less of what's happening there. I'm not in the day-to-day of them, of their building of features.
Okay. So interesting. Alex, I'm going to go to you on this because your title is project manager. So based on what Zamira just said and you looking across, how do you look at the difference between project management and program management and product operations?
So it actually aligns pretty well with what Zamira just explained. So I'm actually a project manager on a lot of like engineering kind of initiative. So to her point, more like the day-to-day, daily scrum, planning, execution, delivery. And also on some other projects, more like, R&D, where, the actual R&D engineers is also acting as a project manager. I'm also just looking at the bigger picture. So really going back to exactly what she mentioned, it's like the actual execution of the project. We're not that much involved. We're following more on a bi-weekly basis just to know the status. And we're more focused on not only the delivery, but also, the follow-up, it's like, okay, now we deliver this project. Now it's time to go to markets. This is where you kind of, the project manager, like, okay, I'm kind of done, right? The project has been delivered. The actual outcome in terms of maybe it's sales, maybe it's retention, depending on the goal. This is where you move on to program. So again, my title, I'm more focused on like engineering projects, but for some other projects, maybe more customer facing or R&D, I also have this title of program management. And I think the interesting part where it will be interesting to have, from my perspective, Cedric's opinion as well, is the product operations for us. It's not so much an official department, but it's being handled by product, by marketing, sometimes even by sales, like to help fill out the education program because they have a different perspective because they're talking to the prospect. So as far as, we're concerned, product ops is being handled across department, but it's not really an official title. And other companies I worked for was kind of the same. So it was interesting for me. It's like, yeah, product ops, I've heard a lot about it, obviously, but we do have this distinction project program, which sometimes can be blurry, to be honest, especially if you wear both hats. But yeah, so pretty much along the lines that what Zamira just explained.
So I have a quick follow-up for you, because then we're going to bring Cedric in to this is going to be interesting. So when you say you don't have a product operations official title or team, let's say, you said that various other groups contribute to the work that a product operations would do. So my question is, do people not know who's in charge? Is there no one of that role? There's no, what's they call it, neck to squeeze, or, you know, the one person kind of thing. And everyone just says, I can help, and then nobody helps. Is that a problem or no?
No, we do have, so whoever is the program manager, depending on the project, will have, you know, his list. And when we have our, you know, let's say bi-weekly meeting, there is a clear, you know, delegation. It's
okay,
like,
good.
hey, if we need product collateral, that's product marketing. If we need training, maybe that's a sales engineer, right? And this doesn't have to be the same like group, but it's clear for each project, delivery, what are the collaterals, what needs to happen, what documentation needs to be updated. But again, it's kind of a cross-functional efforts, not just like, oh, we're sending that to our product operation department. It's like, no, we need to all collaborate.
Yes. Okay. All right. Very good. Sometimes that can be tricky. And
yes.
Okay. All right. Yes. Good. Cedric. Okay. So product operations is so coming from your role, how do you look at these three roles: program management, project management, operations?
So we don't have we have some kind of project manager for delivery team. They are working specifically for like one customer, and so they're taking a request from the customer and implementing that. But mostly we got product manager, so they are like responsible for the outcomes, generating outcomes for the product itself. So it's less on time, on budget with scope. It's more, do we generate more MRR every month, or do we reduce the churn rate on this product, or do we improve the lead time to change from the delivery team? So do we need to invest into that and making all the trade-off? Last year, so my background is engineering, so that's funny. And last year I switched to the product side. So my engineering colleagues said I joined the dark side. And my first role was a product operation manager. We didn't have that function, that role at Broadsign. So I started to do like getting data out of all the products and building dashboards, so we know like what's the impact of our work. And I try to standardize all the work that the teams are working. And that's why we took Dragonboat to have like one platform to have the roadmap and have the same format for everyone. And we can share it like across the company and doing all the presentation we need to make. And so I switched to the director of product a couple weeks ago, and I think I'll continue to have like that kind of responsibility for my team. So I've got the 4 product manager, and so the process of product discovery, doing impact mapping and figuring out what we need to build, it will be the same for all product managers. And yeah,
okay,
based on data.